Welcome in, hip hop heads. My name is Plural Bets, and on this channel, I like to do hip hop album reviews. I take an album, I break down each song, and then give them a rating, a scale of 1 to 10. Just a reminder that music is subjective, and my takes are not always going to match yours 100%. So I always suggest that you listen to the album yourself. This time, I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album from De La Soul, Cabin in the Sky, that dropped on November 21st, 2025. This is their 10th studio album that had just about 10 years from their last release. It is also their first album without their founding member, Trugoy the Dove, aka Dave, who passed away in 2023. This album is in part a tribute, and it also is supposed to signify a rebirth. And it's supposed to showcase how the group has evolved, not only as a group, but alternative hip hop as a total subgenre throughout their 40-year career. This album was dropped through Mass Appeal, and it is their sixth installment in their Legend Has It campaign. Me personally, I kind of feel like De La Soul doesn't get the credit or recognition that they deserve when it comes to other rap groups like NWA and Wu Tang Clan. But I would argue that De La Soul is far more influential than those other groups. I could go on for hours about how they have influenced plenty of artists and hip hop acts throughout their career, myself being one of them. So without further ado, here's the review. Track 1, Cabin Talk, is the album intro, and it's basically a roll call of all the contributors on the album being presented by Mr. Esposito, which we all know and love from the hit show Breaking Bad. This skit is hilarious, and I was laughing out loud in multiple parts of this. But it does end in a semi serious tone when he does ask for Dave to respond, and there is no response. It was funny, informative, and I enjoyed it, and I gotta give this one a hard 8. Track 2, You Don't Stop. This one is produced by the late great Dave himself, and I also believe that it is him on the intro too. Paz is the lone spitter on this, and he takes a very heartfelt verse on just because Dave isn't with us no more, that doesn't mean that they should stop making music, and Dave can live on through the music. I love the flow on this, and the subject matter is super sweet. And the outro reinforces them making music with posthumous Dave. For me, this one hit the right spot, so I'm going to give it a hard 7. Track 3, Sunny Storms. New Edition happens to be on the intro for this, which I thought was pretty smooth. Paz is a lone spitter again, and he gives two different verses with completely different feels. The first verse is a more positive tone, while the second verse is more of a darker, he gives off more of a darker tone. There is an interlude between the two verses that really sets the tone to switch for the second verse as well, which I thought was actually pretty dope. I personally like the first verse better than the second. I just kind of feel like it was executed better. This song is decent, but I would really only say it's average, so I'm giving it a soft 5. Track 4, Good Health. The production for this feels a little off to me. Something just isn't lining up. But the Goldilocks samples that they used were a nice touch, though. The late Trugoy takes the first verse, and in my opinion, he has the best verse in the song. Haz's verse was a little lackluster to me. I just wasn't really feeling it, but I kind of blame the beat. I'm giving this one a soft 3. Track 5, Will Be. This is featuring Yummy Bingham, and it's basically a short, sweet interlude that has a Natalie Cole sample in it. The verse that's done is a mix between Paz, Yummy, and Maceo. And I gotta say that it's actually pretty smooth. While the singing that Yummy does at the end was perfect. I loved it. I gotta give this song a hard 8, and it also flows perfectly into the next song, which is Package. Pose's first verse is just average. He starts off a little strong, and then he takes a little bit of a dip in the middle, but the best part of the first verse is the ending of it. Dave takes the majority of verse 2, with Paz coming in to clean up the last little bit, and I kind of think that Paz has the better parts of the second verse. The third verse on this happens to be my favorite, though. Staying on the TikTok, but this ain't the kitty app was super dope. The beat does kind of carry the first half of the song, but it does turn out to be super solid in the second half. But I only got to give it a hard 6. Track 7, A Quick 16 for Mama, featuring Killer Mike. And just as the title suggests, this song has verses from Paz and Killer Mike pretty much describing their mothers. Paz takes the first verse, and it's more of a spoken word than an actual rap. So I kind of feel like Killer Mike's verse was better just because of the flow that he used. He is more lyrical as well. So the song is actually pretty dope, and I'm going to give it a soft 7. Track 8, Just How It Is, featuring Jay Farrow and Garrett Duncan. This song is the new breakup anthem, in my opinion. The intro starts with a funny exchange between a woman and her boyfriend right as she finds out that he's cheating. Paz's first verse is dope. Got you scrolling through all your pics, deleting any evidence he was in your mix. Super smooth. The bridge is decent as well, but my favorite part of the song is the chorus. It just makes it a hit for me. The second verse starts off strong, but it does take a little bit of a dip. Very slick song, and the outro is funny as hell too. I gotta give this song a perfect 10. Track 9, Cruel Summers Bring Fire Life, featuring Yukimi from Little Dragon. This song is dope in 2 parts. The first half is a throwback to Bananarama, and Yukimi is hitting it perfectly. Sounds basically just like him. There is a beat switch, and Dave comes on to do a chorus that I actually thought was pretty smooth. The Roy Ayers sample that they use and sprinkle in on the second half is actually pretty dope and worth mentioning. The way that they made multiple samples in this work together and mesh perfectly is the reason why I give it a hard 8. Track 10, A Day in the Sun, featuring Q-Tip and Yummy Bingham. The singing for this is on point. The male voice, Dave West, sings it first, and then Yummy comes in and sings it right after. And then they both sing a different part together as the chorus. And that happens to be my favorite part, the chorus. Pose's verse is okay, but I really only have to give it an average moniker, though. And Q-Tip's verse was just lame to me. I didn't really like it that much. And then Yummy singing, like I said, is my favorite part of the song. The beginning and Yummy singing are what make it a soft 5. Before we go any further, I do want to say that I am a proud partner of Dubby Energy. If you are looking to break away from them bogus energy drinks that aren't really good for you to begin with, I have the perfect solution for it. It's healthy and it doesn't have any extra junk that all the other stuff has nowadays. It is made with something called Neurofactor that is scientifically proven to increase your BDNF by a possible 143%. To me, it's a no-brainer. So I suggest that you head over there today and get their starter sampler pack that's only like $18 and try it out. And then use the code SUSTREET for an extra 10% off your order. And now back to the review. Track 11 is Run It Back, featuring Nas. Maceo is on the intro bragging about the lyrical prowess of De La Soul. And this song pretty much proves it. Paz's verse is decent, but it doesn't really have anything lyrically that stands out to me, but it is still pretty dope. The interlude in between the verses is meant to introduce Nas to the song. He starts his verse off okay, but he really starts to snap in the second half, giving props to names like Doechii, Kendrick, and Shabuzi for being the top black names in the music industry right now. And he also makes a bold claim about Napster depriving him of platinum plaques. I don't know if there's any substantial evidence to this, so if there is, let me know in the comments. This song is hard though, and I'm giving it a hard 8. Track 12, Different World, featuring Gina Loring. They also have a Jermaine Jackson sample that serves as a staple for the chorus, and it happens to be my favorite part of the song, to be honest. The first verse for this is a little lackluster despite the message, but Gina does come in with a dope spoken word message that kind of really embodies what the hook was talking about. And the second verse for this is a dope message from Paz to his fallen friend on the other side. A bar that really hit home for me is us arguing with each other is much better than us not having each other. This song hits you in the right place, and it is dope despite having a lackluster first verse. I'm still giving this a hard 9. Track 13, Patty Cake. The beat for this has a clap sample that really sounds like grade school clap games, and they do mention this in the intro. Trugoy takes the first verse, which is pretty dope to start off, but in my opinion, he does kind of fall off towards the end. Paz's verse is dope. My favorite lines was first comes love, then comes the baby, then comes marriage, maybe. Super dope. Paz's verse definitely carried the song to a hard six. Track 14, The Silent Life of a Truth. The beat for this is dope. Probably my favorite piece of production on the project. So shouts out to DJ Premier for this. The first verse was a little lackluster to me, but it really is only average. The hook between the verses is short but sweet. The DJ scratches on the vocal were a nice touch. The second verse is just a little bit better than the first. I kind of blame the flow for it not hitting right. The beat and the chorus carry this song to a soft 7. Track 15, NF, featuring Black Thought. This song has a Papoose sample that I thought was a nice touch for it. I like the intro for this. Trugoy gives a few definitions for the words that are in the Papoose sample. Paz's verse is okay. My favorite part happens to be right around the middle. Black Thought has the better of the two verses, super lyrical in this. The song is okay. I kind of thought it was lackluster the first time through, but it does get better the second and third times you hear it. So I originally gave it a soft 3, but I'm going to give it a hard 5. Track 16, Believe, featuring Lady Stout, Kay Butler, and The Collective. The chorus that is done by Stout is my favorite part, and it was super smooth. It sets the tone for a very gospel-y feeling song. The verses progressively get better in this. The first verse was kind of weak to me, while the second was just a little bit above average, and the third was actually kind of dope. I still am only going to give it an average moniker, though, and rate it at a soft 5. Track 17, Yours, featuring Common and Slick Rick. The intro for this is dope, in my opinion. It has someone having kids spell out the words young world. And my personal favorite part of the song is Slick Rick on the hook. Super smooth. I love what they did with the vocal mix on it. It just was a nice touch. The first verse was kind of lame despite the message, but Common did do his thing in his verse and was actually low-key dope. The production and Slick Rick on the hook are highlights of a song that I rate a soft 7. Track 18, Palm in His Hands. This has Bilal featured on it. The beat for this is okay. Whatever that high-pitched sample is that comes like in the hook and partially in the verses brings the track down a little bit. The first verse starts off strong, but it is really up and down from there, so I only really call it average. And the second verse is more of the same. Really up and down flow and lyricism. I'm not really a fan of this song. It does have some highlights, but like I said, the beat kind of ruins it. So I'm giving this one a hard 2. Track 19 is Cabin in the Sky. The beat for this is funky, and the vocal chops that they used are a nice touch. Paz's verse is fairly decent. He does bring up more about his fallen friend and also that his father just celebrated a 90th birthday recently. I gotta say that it really is only a little bit above average, though. I didn't really like the hook for this. It was kind of lame in my opinion. But the second verse is kind of dope, and it is my favorite part of the song. But it doesn't bring the song out of being below average, and I'm giving it a hard 4. Track 20 is Don't Push Me, which is basically all Trugoy. He made the beat, and he does all the lyrics on this, for the most part. I like the guitar riffs and the wind lead. They mesh well. His verse is dope. The Obama on the $5 bill line was probably my favorite. The hook is fairly smooth, but it kind of is below average. And his second verse is okay, but it's just not as good as the first. And the outro for this really feels enlightening to me. And I got to give this song a soft 7. This album is beautiful, and I'm kind of glad that we got this thing. We probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for Dave's family pushing Posnius to keep Dave alive. Paz is the driving factor, being the majority of the lyrics that we hear on this. Maceo does have a few rare appearances, but they are few and far between. While the posthumous Trugoy samples are placed perfectly throughout the album, and I was anticipating the next time that he was going to show up. Who knows if we are going to get another De La Soul album. So we should appreciate this. And I also feel like it is going to age like fine wine. It really gives you everything you know and love about De La Soul. The production is beautiful, the lyricism is on point, and it wouldn't be a De La Soul album without plenty of samples. This album is basically cinema, and it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. A lot of people are saying that this just might be their best work, but I want to put a break on that because the recency bias that we see nowadays runs totally rampant. And I just want to put a pause on saying that this is their best work. But with that being said, this album is damn near perfect. And I recommend this for hip hop heads and music lovers alike. This transcends hip hop. I need you to go and listen to this album now and then come back and give me your take. Let me know what your favorite song is. Let me know what your least favorite song is and how you felt about the album as a whole. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button and recommend me which album you want me to review next. My list is fairly short right now, so I am fielding recommendations. And then after you recommend me an album, hit the subscribe button so you can be up to date for when I choose to review your album. Until next time, friends, peace.